Alright, basically we're going to go back to just solving for x again, but these are a little more complicated problems than what we had done in the past. So I'll tell you what, we'll start off with a fairly easy one, and then I'll stick some on there that you're going to see on this worksheet. Okay, so this one is kind of like review. So write it down. So this will just kind of ease us into what we're going to do today. All right, this is pretty straightforward. Let's see. Left-hand side of the equal sign, what should we do first? What's our first? Yeah, the negative, exactly. So let's distribute the negative through here, and let's do that. So it's going to be x minus 2x, what? Minus 1. That one right there is the one that people tend to forget. Okay, they'll remember to make that a negative 2x, but a lot of people will forget to make that a negative 1. So make sure you do that. Minus 7. Now the right side, there's nothing to do over here on the right side, so we'll just keep it like that. Let's add some like terms on the left side. So x minus 2x, 1 minus 2 is negative 1x, right? Do you see that? And then negative 1 minus 7 is negative 8. Good. Alright, so we've simplified both sides. Now let's get x on the same side. Let's move this x over to the left-hand side. We do that by adding a 3x. Add it to this x over here. In the same step, let's get rid of the minus 8 and put it on the other side. So I'm going to add an 8. I'm going to add an 8. Everybody with me? So that'll cancel out, that'll cancel out. So what do you get here? 2x equals what? 5. Divide by 2. Pretty basic, isn't it? You can just leave it 5 over 2. I'm perfectly fine with that. Okay? You don't have to. I know some teachers harp on you to make it a mixed number or to make it a decimal. I'm perfectly fine with you keeping it 5 over 2. In fact, I'd probably prefer you kept it like that because, I mean, some people will do this. They'll say, oh, 5 halves, that's 1.5. You know, they might just not think, think close. It's just another, is it 1.5 though? No, it's 2.5, but you can see how easily you can make that mistake, don't you? Alright, so don't change it, just keep it like that. I'd be fine with that. We good? Alright. Let's do another one. Now the difficulty level increases just a little bit to this, probably not a whole lot. Anybody have a calculator? I might need you to punch some numbers in for me. No, I've asked a lot in here for you. Right, because Judah's the one that usually has the calculator, then I'll say, come on, Judah, what are you waiting for? Okay. There it is. It's basically the same style of problem. It really is. There's not a whole lot more difficult, but you throw in a square root, you throw in some decimals, automatically that makes it just a little bit tougher than what we did before, doesn't it? Okay, so let's see what we're going to do. What's the first step, though? Distribute. So let's go ahead and do that. All right. This time we're distributing a 4. So what's that? 4 times 0.23. 0.92. Yeah, I could have done that in my head, I guess, but I'm lazy. 0.92x plus, what's this? 4 times that. I don't want decimals, though. How would we write it? Right, you just write it 4 square root of 5. Okay. Alright, and that's the square root of 2x, and that's a plus 1. I guess if you wanted to, tell you what, give me a second. I want to see how they write this. They may write this as a decimal, so who knows? We may want to write that or just wait. I'll tell you what, let's just wait to the end to make it a decimal. Let's not round it. It's too early to start taking square roots, turning it into decimals. Let's just wait to the very end. All right, I think that's what they're going to do. All right, so what's the deal here? Get x on the same side now, right? So let's just take this, move it to the left-hand side. Most people are pretty comfortable just keeping it on the left-hand side. All right, so let's do that. So if I subtract the square root of 2x here, I got to subtract square root of 2x here. Agreed? subtract a 4 square root of 5 here, subtract a 4 square root of 5 over here. So that cancels out, that cancels out. And so this is the point right here where you probably want to throw that into a calculator. Okay, because it's this x minus this x. So basically, what are we doing? We're just going 0.92 minus whatever square root of 2 is. So do all that on your calculator. Hit 0.92 minus, and then hit square root of 2 and see what you get. Negative 0.49. Okay. What's after the 9? 0.498.
Negative 0.4942.
Okay, 0.494. Okay, so we will keep it 0.49. And that's an x, isn't it? See what I did? Just threw that in my calculator. Okay, let's do the same thing over here. What's 1 minus 4 square root of 5?
Negative 7.9.
94. Okay. All right. So really, it's not that hard doing a calculator, right? Just punching them in your calculator. Not that big of a deal. The number's a little uglier than what it was before. But for goodness sakes, you got a calculator, don't you? So it shouldn't be that bad. So what do we do here to get x by itself? Divide by negative 0.49, correct? Divide this by negative 0.49. Now that's going to go positive, isn't it? So just put in 7.94 divided by 0.49, and let's see what we get. 16 point what? What's the, let's take it, since this has 2 decimals, let's take our answer 2 decimals. 20. Okay, what's after the 0? 4. Okay, we'll keep it 20. Or just, yeah. Now, I'm not going to get into that. Sometimes I go off on tangents, and I was about to. I'll stop right there. So 16.20 would be our answer. All right, let's do one more, and then I'll give you the worksheet to work on, okay? So now we introduce something else. Pi. So 2 pi x plus cube root 4. Does that thing usually flash like that? It does? Okay, I just never noticed it before. Does it really? Now it's starting to irritate. No, I never noticed it. Now it's irritating me. I think I can.
I don't think it did before when we had the white screen.
Oh, is that right?
No, it did.
Did it?
You just couldn't see it as much.
I think I can
No, it definitely
get rid of it. Maybe not.
did. You're recording.
I know. Oh, this thing right here. Nope, that didn't help either. I can't believe I just noticed that that's still flashing. F9. I didn't know that. It's always done that, huh? That's how much I pay attention. I never noticed it. Now I can't stop noticing. That's all I see is that thing flashing in front of me like that. All right, I'll try to get over it. What are we trying to do? Get x by itself, right? Wow, this is ugly looking, isn't it?
Yeah.
But use a calculator, right? So that's good practice using a calculator. Let's see. Let's get x by itself. So I've got an x here. I can't really simplify this side over here, can I? I'm just going to keep it cube root of 4. We'll turn it into a decimal once we start working with it. But I'm not going to turn it into a decimal right now. I'll wait till I get x by itself. So here's an x right here. Here's an x right here. So what I need to do is get the x's on the same side, don't I? So let's do this. So let's subtract a 0.5 pi x. Subtract 0.5 pi x. All right. Let's get rid of this. So we'll subtract a cube root of 4, and we'll subtract a cube root of 4 over here. We good? And let's see. That's going to cancel. That's going to cancel. Let's see. 2 minus a half. You know what that is. What? 1.5, isn't it? So 1.5 pi x. That canceled out. What does that equal? This thing right here. So now remember, it is a negative, isn't it? Okay, so don't forget that. I'm going to write it out. I'm not going to plug it into the calculator to the very end. So it's negative square root of 28 minus the cube root of 4. Now I guess you could look at this and try to simplify it. It wouldn't be that hard. 4 times 7 is 28, right? So the square root of 4 is 2, so it's 2 squared is 7. But that's really not going to help you because you're going to throw it into a calculator anyway, so I wouldn't even bother doing that. Okay. One more thing. Again, we're trying to get x by itself, so what do we have to get rid of now? 1.5 pi. So we divide this by 1.5 pi. Come over here, divide that whole thing by 1.5 pi, right? And then x equals this whole mess right here. So now it's just a matter of putting this into a calculator. Well, you got to be careful with it, right? Because go ahead and try it, and I'll try it on my calculator, and we'll see what you get. All right, how do I get back to my? Whoops. I'm trying to put. I had that little toolbar down the bottom, but I hit the nah, because that's this program. It's the Camtasia is the thing that's flashing. Maybe if I hit pause. This is what I got when I put it in my calculator. I got negative 1.46. It's 459, but I'll round it to 1.46 negative. That's what I got. Did you get that? No? Did anybody? You got it? You figured out what you did wrong?
Yeah, I pushed the cube.
Yeah, I think
Right.
that's square root of 1 today.
Yeah, it's cube root of 4. Okay, make sure you do this right. I put the pi button. I hit the pi button. I just didn't hit 3.14. I hit the actual pi button. A key to this kind of stuff is using parentheses. Sometimes I overuse them, but that's okay. I just hit square root of 28, hit the negative sign, right, minus, and then, you probably don't need to do this, but I put parentheses, and then I did this, I closed the parentheses. Then I hit equals. Once I hit equals, it does the division. Or it actually gives me a number right here. Then I hit division, okay? And then, after I hit divide, since I'm doing a couple things here, I put that in parentheses as well. Okay, so on the calculator, I actually use this left parentheses and right parentheses. Okay, now if I'm using one of these, it's just a scientific calculator. It's not a graphing calculator, so it does things just a little bit differently. Like the square root of 28 on my calculator, I hit 28, then I hit the square root button. If you're using a graphing calculator, you would hit square root first, then you would hit 28. You with me? So it all depends on what style of calculator that you're using. Just be familiar with how your calculator works, and really the algebra here wasn't that hard. It was just understanding what to put in your calculator and how to do it correctly. So we think, oh wow, he's letting us use a calculator, that must be easy then. Well, it's not always that easy. You got to make sure you still know the steps, and make sure you tell the calculator the right thing to put in. It's not going to make a mistake. Who's going to make the mistake if you get this wrong? You're going to make the mistake, okay, if you get it wrong. The calculator won't. It does everything you tell it to do. It's not that smart. It only does what you tell it to do, okay? So you got to tell it to do the right thing. Got it? Okay. I think that's good enough. I'll give you this worksheet, but let's just do 1 through 12. There is a second part of it. We'll do that second part tomorrow. Is that all right with you? So it's section 2.1, and it's part C. That's what I called this one. All right. So we're just going to do 1 through 12, and that will be it.